Okay, so if you're working in the AWS cloud, you know that keeping your network secure is, well, it's a full-time job. But what if you had like a personal detective constantly scanning for hidden risks? Well, AWS just dropped a new tool that does exactly that. Today, we're going to break down the brand new AWS Shield Network Security Director and see how it can help you find those vulnerabilities before the bad guys do.
You know, it's the question that keeps cloud security pros up at night. In any kind of complex environment, there's always that little fear in the back of your mind that a misconfiguration, an overly permissive rule, or some exposed resource is just hiding in plain sight, waiting to be exploited.
And look, this fear isn't just paranoia. The bigger your environment gets, the harder it becomes to keep a complete, accurate picture of your security posture. And that creates this really dangerous blind spot where vulnerabilities can just thrive.
So here's the thing. The real threats, they're usually not these crazy, sophisticated zero-day attacks. No, they're the day-to-day oversights. Things like security groups allowing unrestricted SSH access from anywhere, internet gateways accidentally exposing private resources, or even web application firewalls that aren't actually attached to anything. These are the low-hanging fruit that attackers are always looking for first.
Okay, so how do you get rid of that blind spot? Well, AWS's answer is the Shield Network Security Director. Just think of it as your own specialized detective for your cloud, totally dedicated to uncovering hidden risks across all of your AWS accounts.
And what's so crucial here is that this is way more than just a scanner. It's a whole evaluation service. It automatically finds your compute and networking resources, it checks them against best practices, it ranks everything it finds from informational all the way up to critical, and, this is the best part, it actually gives you the exact steps to fix what it finds.
Yeah, and that analogy just hits the nail on the head, right? It automates all that tedious and, let's be honest, error-prone work of continuous security assessment. So instead of doing these periodic, manual audits, you have an always-on consultant that's constantly checking your setup for weaknesses.
All right, so we know what it is, but how does it actually work? The whole service is designed around this really straightforward, repeatable playbook for making your security posture better.
So it all kicks off with just one click to run a network analysis. The director then fills up a dashboard with all its findings, showing you exactly which resources have issues. From there, you can drill down into any of those high-severity findings to get specific advice on how to fix it. And then, if you really want to get into the weeds, you can use the integrated Amazon Q Assistant to ask plain English questions about your security. It's a complete cycle, all the way from discovery to resolution.
But it doesn't stop there. Beyond that simple workflow, the Network Security Director has a couple of really powerful features that elevate it way beyond a simple reporting tool. Honestly, this is where it gets really good.
Okay, let's make this real. Let's look at a single EC2 instance. The tool isn't just going to say, this instance is insecure. No way. It gives you super specific, actionable findings like these. It's not going to be vague. It'll tell you, hey, your SSH port is wide open to the entire internet. It'll flag if the instance is totally missing a firewall, or if it's sitting behind a load balancer that isn't protected from common web attacks. I mean, that's the level of detail you actually need to fix things.
So the first superpower here, it's all about visibility. Instead of just dumping a list of findings on you, the service lets you actually see your network in a whole new way through its network topology map.
Seriously, this map is a total game changer. It visually lays out all your resources and their connections, so you can instantly see what's talking to what, which resources have a direct path to the internet, and which ones are missing protections. You can even spot unused security groups that are just sitting there cluttering up your account. It turns all those abstract configs into a map you can actually understand.
And then comes the second superpower. Once that map helps you spot something interesting, you don't have to go digging through a mountain of logs or config files to investigate. You just ask it a question.
And that's the magic of the Amazon Q integration. You can ask plain English questions just like this one and get a direct answer based on the very latest scan data. You could ask it to summarize your top findings, identify resources at risk of DDoS attacks, or list common issues on your EC2 instances. It's a completely interactive way to investigate your security posture.
Okay, this all sounds amazing, right? But since the service is still in public preview, there are a few practical things you gotta know before you jump in.
All right, first things first. Pricing. During the public preview, there's no charge for the Network Security Director service itself, which is awesome, right? But remember, you are still responsible for any fees for the underlying services you use, like AWS WAF.
AWS has said that when the service becomes generally available, the pricing will be different, so just, keep an eye on that.
Next, there's a pretty important limitation you need to know about, especially for bigger organizations, and that number is 300,000.
That number, 300,000, is the max number of resources it can process in a single scan. If your account has more resources than that, the analysis will fail, and you'll need to reach out to AWS support to figure out how to proceed.
And finally, just a few other little things to keep in mind. Because it's a preview service, it's subject to change. Your scan results and all the findings are only kept for 60 days, so after that, you'll need to run a new scan. And lastly, it doesn't currently support some types of cross-account shared resources like network firewall policies or EC2 prefix lists. So when you put it all together, the AWS Shield Network Security Director is a really compelling new way to get a handle on your cloud security. It's designed to be super simple to get started with, but it's powerful enough to uncover some really critical risks. Really, the only question left is, what are you going to find lurking in your network when you run that first scan?